Okay, lesson 2. I told you that I was a school superintendent, and like being a finance commissioner, I was ill-prepared for this job. I'd actually trained to be a teacher, but never took a course in educational administration, and it was really an accident that I became superintendent. They had a financial problem. They need someone to help. I went in to help solve the financial problem. The board, for whatever reason, decided I should become the superintendent. Knowing that I didn't know anything about being a superintendent, my mission was to try to understand our schools as well as I could. We had over 100 schools, 55,000 kids, 72% in poverty, 103 different languages spoken in our homes. So my mission was to really get in and understand our schools. And so I tried to participate in every aspect of our school district. And I'd done a lot. I visited every school. I met every teacher. I spent a lot of time just immersed in our schools. But I realized one day there's one thing I hadn't done. I hadn't ridden the bus to school. So I said to the transportation guy, find a bus route that I can take. I need to go to school. So he says, oh yeah, you go to 32nd and Lake Street at 6:15 in the morning. That's the beginning of a bus run that goes to Anderson School. So I show up, walk up to the corner, dressed kind of like this. I probably had a tie on. And standing on the corner is a mom and her daughter. I introduce myself. They're completely unimpressed. But they can't understand why a guy in a coat and tie wants to take the bus to school, but the mom seemed willing to put up with it. But 5 minutes later, this car pulls up and parks down the street, and these two people start walking toward us. And as they get near, we realize that one of them is carrying a video camera, and the other is carrying a spotlight. And they're from the TV news. They heard that this nitwit was going to ride the bus to school, and they wanted to be able to memorialize this event. Now the mom is less sure about this whole deal. The daughter is actually slightly more interested. A couple of minutes later, another person gets out of a car, and that turns out to be the flash photographer from the newspaper, also wanting to memorialize the nitwit's trip to school. Thankfully, the bus arrives. The mother pretty reluctantly lets her daughter get on the bus. I get on the bus. The TV camera gets on the bus. The spotlight gets on the bus, and the flash photographer gets on the bus, and we proceed driving around South Minneapolis, picking up kids from kindergarten through 8th grade that were going to go to Anderson Open School. Now, I just want you to get your heads around the notion of this bus ride. When you, let's say you're in 4th grade or 5th grade, especially if you're a 4th or 5th grade boy, and you go up the steps to the bus and you realize that you are now on television and in the newspaper, all hell breaks loose. And as each kid got on, the pitch in the bus only got higher. And the people on the bus would cheer as the new people got on, and people were waving their arms and screaming and yelling. And we're driving around South Minneapolis, and flash photographers and spotlights and crazy, crazy behavior. And thankfully, after what seemed like a 4.5-hour bus ride, we pull up to Anderson School. Now, if you haven't been on a school bus in a while, you've probably forgotten that the aisle is really narrow, and so everybody crams into the aisle, and you kind of work your way, to the front door. So the kids start getting off, the TV camera gets off, the spotlight gets off, the flash photographer gets off, and I'm somewhere in the middle of the bus, and I'm working my way up, and I get to the very front, and I turn to the bus driver, who had just done an amazing thing. And I said to her, wow, thank you very much. I know that was, really challenging. I just, I really appreciate it. And she looks up at me and she says, well, you're welcome, and don't forget to use the handrail. I spin around. I miss the handrail. I miss the first step. I somersault off the bus, flat on my face on the pavement. With the TV camera whirring and the flash photographer and the kids screaming. Lesson number 2. Listen to those around you. They can keep you from falling flat on your face. None of us are playing solitaire, right? Our work is collective work. It's teamwork. no matter who we are and where we work. And we oughtn't ever forget that none of us gets anything done alone, but what we do together. And listening to one another is such an important lesson. And sometimes we have to learn it the hard way.